Hi, we're back again from the left ascending bank of the Ohio River. For those of you that are navigating, we will be at mile marker 0. Now you're probably saying something's wrong with that because mile marker 0 should be down in Cairo, but it's not that way, and you'll just have to figure it out. Now Gerlindy's going to make a presentation, but she needs to come over here first. Gerlindy, I'm going to challenge you to come up with your challenge coin, and if you don't, you're going to buy me a beer tonight. Oh, she's got one of those challenges. Hey, great. Now, Gerlindy and a couple of us went to the photography branch course for photography, and our challenge coin is made out of copper. So challenge coins don't always have to be made out of gold and silver.
Right.
All right, Gerlindy, you're on.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the great introduction, Duncan. Good way to get started. So I hope everyone is having a great day. It's raining here in Pittsburgh, but the sun is also shining, so that's a good sign. So he's already introduced me as Gerlindy Higginbotham. And my biography for the auxiliary hasn't changed much since the last time we talked, but I've been a member since 1996. I was, once upon a time, a boat crew member. I'm currently an instructor, and I'm also serving as the director of the National Training Directorate, and I also serve as our flotilla human resources and financial officer. Two of my proudest accomplishments have been helping our district, 8th Eastern, double our submissions for the NACO 3-Star Award in Excellence for our last year. I think we had more submissions last year than we've ever had, and this year we hope to double that. Many of you asked, what is diversity? And diversity, simply put, is acceptance and respect, understanding that each individual, all of us, is unique and that we recognize our individual differences. Each one of us in the auxiliary and out in the greater world, we're all the same, but we all have unique differences. Recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of all people. And each individual is worthy and we all have dignity. And that's what diversity means. Now, inclusion means involvement and empowerment. That we should involve our members and empower them to be active. Many of you ask, why do we need diversity and inclusion? Well, all of our organizations, the auxiliary, corporate, nonprofits, we all must evolve or we risk diminishing our candidate pool. But you know, just increasing the number of people from diverse groups isn't meaningful. That just increases your numbers. But if our members don't feel valued and respected, they're not going to stay in our organization. So diversity means being invited to the party, and inclusion means being asked to dance at the party. Now, the district staff officer, which I am, our duties are to ensure that we follow this strategic plan, that we provide the NACO 3-Star Award for Excellence in Diversity that we promote, that award to all our divisions and flotillas. We're responsible for conducting and coordinating all district level training in areas of diversity and inclusion. And we work with all our divisions and flotillas to increase our diversity staff. And we try to do outreach with the public and recruit along with our public affairs and human resource officers. And we also report to our district chief of staff. We're very fortunate to have some excellent assistants in diversity officers. Chris Jones has been working with me for over 5 to 6 years. I have a new assistant, William August Von Dolen II. He just started in the last couple of months, so you'll be hearing from him and Chris and I very soon. We're going to be calling upon you to promote the award, your submission of applications, and helping you get out there to recruit and do some outreach. Now, I just want to take a minute to talk about our 2022 District Diversity and Inclusion Award for the year 2021. Now, I know this is a confusing part to many members, so we are doing the submission for last year, 2021 calendar year, but we are submitting the application between now and June 30th of this year. So this submission would be for your activities last year. The window is now open to submit your application. You can submit it anytime between now and June 30th. And I say this 3 times, but remember, you're completing the form for calendar year 2021. Someone in marketing once said, if you say it 3 times, people will remember it. Now, this is only 1 page of the submission form, but as you can see, it is a fillable PDF form. So you can go to the National Diversity and Inclusion Directorate webpage on cgox.org to obtain the form. And they've highlighted the important parts that you need to check off. And there's spots in there where you can write a sentence or 2 about what you're doing, or what you have done, I'm sorry. So units or flotillas, and this award is open for divisions as well as flotillas, and I'll talk about the divisions in a minute. But flotillas that are applying for this, please remember that you must complete 4 objectives in each of the 4 goals. So there are 4 goals, and there are 6 objectives in each goal, but you only have to complete 4. So that makes it easy. And Chris and Mr. Dolan and I will be calling you to help you fill those out if you need help. Now, goal 5 is optional. This is where divisions come in. So let's say we have a division and all the flotillas are applying. So what a division commander can do is get together with the flotilla commanders and say, hey, let's do 1 submission. So goal 5 will help you do that. And this would be a distinction in our district if we get all our flotillas to apply for this award. Now, one of the things that I keep saying, June 30th, calendar year 2021, the new thing this year is it must be typed. No handwritten submissions will be accepted. So that's why they've made the PDF an electronic fillable form. So that's very, very important to remember. New this year, and I talked about it a little bit, is the unit collaboration. So again, if all the units within a division have completed or are going to complete a submission, you can make it 1 submission through the division commander. Now, to do this, this means that all the flotilla commanders and the division commander need to affirm via signature on the form that all the information contained in the application is accurate and that the flotillas actively participated in the diversity inclusion process. So that means that flotilla 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 actually participated in a diversity training, or they actually participated in an outreach event. And so you can just file 1 submission, but all the flotillas will receive an award, plus the division will receive an award. Also new this year is a submission checklist form. This is to help you go through your submission and check off, like, did I do this? Did I do that? And I've used it, and it's very good. It's very good. So this is a way for you to review your application before you submit it. Now, Chris, William, and I are going to hold a series of virtual coaching sessions to help you complete the submission. And we're going to hold these sessions during April and May. We'll do it via Zoom, and we'll send those out soon. And what we want to do is have 1 session or 2 sessions, depending on what your needs are, for each area. So we'll hold 1 for the East, 1 for the West, and 1 for the South. So please attend and bring questions. And bring your concerns if you have any concerns, because what I can do is send those up the chain to our National Diversity Directorate. Also, the National Diversity and Inclusion Directorate holds town halls. And so what I will try to do is get that out to all the division commanders, or have Chris and William help me do that, so that all our diversity officers from the flotilla all the way up to division can attend those national diversity town halls. They usually hold those once a month. So in closing, I hope this has been helpful. I didn't want to go through each page and each goal, because you can go to the national website, pull the submission form, and read it for yourself. If you do have questions, at the end of this presentation is my email, Chris's email, and William's email. And also, if you go to OxData or Ox Directory, my telephone number is there along with my assistants. But I do want to say that organizations like the auxiliary definitely benefit from diversity and inclusion. We all bring different experiences, skills, approaches, and talents. And this will help us grow the auxiliary and benefit all of our auxiliary missions, which are growing day by day. And remember, we were young once, and they brought us in, and now we have to bring in people to help us retire. Thank you for listening. And here are our emails. You probably won't have time to write that down, but you can go to OxData or Ox Directory. Thank you very much. I understand that people can do questions too.
Yeah, do we have any input? Chat box?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet?
Okay, that means I did a great job.
As always.
No, I meant nobody paid any attention to what you said.
No, Duncan.
Well, the next presenter is not here. By the way, we've changed the schedule. That was what was published. The director apparently missed the cue. She's going to fill in where I are supposed to have done it, which is a good idea for me to not have to worry about it. But we'll use some of Gerlindy's time to talk about things I was going to talk about.
There you go.
One of the things is getting your membership, your new members that Gerlindy talked about, through the system. They can do a lot of things now, but they really need to be BQ'd or basically qualified. And in order to be basically qualified, there are three things that they need to do. One is to have a boater's education class, and that's what we talked about this morning earlier with John Franco. The best way to bring a member in is to bring them in from a boating safety class, and therefore they've got the documentation that's already there. If they haven't attended the class, then you need to find a flotilla that's teaching a class, if you're not doing it yourself, so they can attend it. The second thing they must do in order to, and they have a year to do this, but we'd like to have them do it earlier, is take their BQC2 course. There are 7 modules. It's available in Moodle. You go to Moodle, which is an auxiliary classroom. Hopefully you, as a flotilla commander or a flotilla member, have assigned a mentor to your new member and can show them where to find the classroom and how to get their password and how to actually maneuver around it. My experience has been we expect a new member to simply log on their computer and magically find what it is that they need to do. We have older members that can't even do that, that have been in the auxiliary for years, and expect a new person to do that. The next course is what we call the core training. And the core training course for new members is 6 modules. 6 modules. It too is also in Moodle, or the auxiliary classroom. Both of these presentations are in Moodle, but the exam for BQC2 is in the National Test Center. And you actually have to take a test for BQC2. You have to watch a presentation for the Ox Core. And again, you can follow the things. It goes into OxData, which is the Auxiliary Information System. It's new, it's Docs Data 2. Even us old members have problems moving around in it, but it's a pretty good system. And once they get these three things on their record, their voting safety, their BC Key 2, I have a trouble time with that one, and core training, then you need to notify Deanne Rodenberg that they've completed their training and ask her to have the director's office change their status from AP to BQ. Now, the other thing they can do is once they get BQ, they can apply for their ID card. And the procedure for doing that is on the national website, our website. Does anyone know where Ramon is? What's the timer for? Me? We're going to try to find the next presenter. Stand by. Here he comes. Have you given them your slides? Okay. We have Ramon coming. Come on over here. Ramon, I'm going to challenge you to a beer tonight to come up with your challenge coin from the photo class.
I left it in my room.
Hot dog, I got a beer.
It's in with my hat, in my hat box.
You're on.
All right.
There's a timer. You got his time set?
We are all set.
Okay.
I'll show it to you tonight.
No. You can give me the beer tonight.
Okay. Am I live already?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we're going to discuss the role and practices of the Coast Guard Auxiliary Publications Officer, or anyone in that position. This kind of crosses over between PA and PB, but I'm looking mostly at the publications side, although they are joined. As a publications officer, we are essentially a photojournalist. So we are tasked with writing and taking quality photos to illustrate our stories. We have multiple ways to spread the news, from your typical article, writing newsletters, radio, television spots, and now quite often social media spots. So social media has gotten very, very important for communication within the auxiliary. So today I'm going to focus on the photo part of the photojournalist, discussing some strategies you may find useful in the field to capture great images, and how to handle those images from pixel to post. Can you, next slide?
The red button.
Okay,
The green button.
green button. Okay, so I'm in charge, all right. So handling these images from pixel to post, that being the capture to actual post-production, and how to handle that photo in the future. They say an image is worth 1,000 words. Now with the internet and social media, it's probably more like 1 billion words. And I would even go on to make up a word, a bazillion words, that being with a Bravo and a Zulu. Quality photo can tell a story with little to no language barriers. And an exciting photo can literally go around the world in a matter of seconds. So that's why the photo aspect is very important. Today, most of us shoot with a cell phone. So we always have a camera on our person, usually in our hand. I actually have my phone on my hand right now in my pocket. Always kind of reaching for the phone. The pixel count and the quality of images of today's cell phones are high enough for most of our needs. We only need 5 megapixels generally, and most camera phones can do that now. So don't hesitate to use that as your tool. This isn't to say that the higher quality DSLRs or more popular now mirrorless cameras are passe. Those still have their place. So use whatever works best for you and your situation. The primary rule or custom, I guess it would be more of a rule, is to have permission to shoot and be respectful of your immediate situation. So, for example, you're on a mom's mission, you're on a vessel, and you should always clear it with your coxswain before you pull out any device. There are express written guidelines for cell phone and other electronic device use while on patrol. However, if you are a publications officer, that does give you a little bit more advantage, and once you clear that, you can assume that role and do that part of your job as well. The primary objective is to get good quality images to illustrate your stories. So try to avoid the boring shots, your typical 5 guys standing in a line type shot, although quite often those are necessary, and those can even be used as a tool. But once you establish that shot, then you can go on a prowl for some shots with some more action involved. That's what I try to shoot for, is something where there's motion, there's emotion, there's something happening that you can actually try to create that visual impact so the viewer of that image feels like they're there. And one strategy, because we are photojournalists, we still have to do the journalist part. So make sure you get all of the info that there is. There's nothing worse than having to go back and put names with faces because you forgot to record all those names on the spot. You'll end up in the directories and asking people. So I've developed one strategy for this, and that's to use audio recordings. So I'll turn that on my phone whenever I start an event. And as people are introduced, you'll hear their names and you can put a name with a face. Also, I like to take close-up pictures of people with their name tags, their shoulder boards, any identifiable device that tells me what their rank or office device says. And that's a good practice because part of our training is to recognize those devices. So it's good practice to kind of stay on top of that so that you learn to recognize who's who based on office device and rank device. One thing I always like to throw in, no chimping. Chimping is a comical term for someone who reviews every shot as they take them on the spot. It's just not a good practice, and in many cases, especially on a boat, we must maintain situational awareness. So there's really no time to be looking at your images while you're taking them. And quite often, if you do that, people assume you're done taking the shot and they start to move. So they'll move out of position. So then you have to start all over. So like the gambler said, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. So play it safe. Take multiple shots, but don't go crazy on rapid fire. That's another issue. You don't want thousands of images to sort through when maybe 10 or 100 will do, because it just loads up your phone, it loads up your computer. You end up with all these images that you're never going to use. So finally, you have the money shot. This is a shot you're going to use to illustrate the article and possibly push up the chain for photo of the month, photo of the year. This is when you have to create the caption for the photo. So we use the AP standard coupled with some other Coast Guard standards and practices. In a newsletter, you're not going to use this AP standard caption on every single photo. That would become quite redundant. But if you're going to create your caption, you're going to be using that for, say, a photo release or a press release, anywhere where you're going to have that caption travel with the photo. And you can also install that caption in your EXIF data once you get to that level, so that that caption is basically embedded with that photo. So for me, creating an AP caption used to take almost as long as writing an article. So I thought there really has to be a better way. So what I developed is a caption by colors method to make it smooth and efficient. You start with the date line, the name of the city, which is in all caps, and the state. Your state abbreviation is not the postal code abbreviation, but the AP abbreviation, followed by an M dash. Now, the certain cities can stand alone. They don't need the name of the state. Certain cities around the world can stand alone. They don't need the name of their countries. So you can get a downloaded file of all of that, which shows you the names of certain cities and things that can stand alone. So that's all available in AP Standard. You can just literally Google that. So after the AP Associated Press requirements, basically you have to answer the 5 W's in this suggested order: who, what, where, when, and why. And then you tag on your photographer's name. So I think most of us learned this in like the 4th or 5th grade when writing any type of paper. You always answer the who, what, where, when, and why. And then, like I said, the last piece of the puzzle would be the photographer's name, whether that's the same person writing the article or a different photographer. So this image, taken from DVIDS, or I like to call it DVIDS. I don't know if everybody else calls it that. You will notice they have answered the 5 W's, but also revisited some aspects in other parts of the caption. The caption should spark the reader's interest, but it doesn't have to tell the whole story. That's what the body of the article is for, obviously. However, this method would be most helpful and informative in posting tweets, Facebook, and Instagram images. So I'm going to break this down into the who, what, where, whens, and whys. So who, hopefully you can read the red on black. We almost always start with the who because we want to know who's in the image. That's one of the things that's most important. So we include things like the full name, maybe age. I don't know if age is always appropriate, but in some cases, like let's say someone's extremely young for what they happen to be doing, that might be important to throw in there. Or if they're quite experienced, you might want to put their age in, but I don't think it's a standard thing that goes in most captions. You can include things like the hometown of that person. Also, if there are multiple subjects in a position within the image, you always list them from left to right. And you can also identify someone as center if there's 3 people in the shot. That way there's no confusion about who's who. Also, we put in titles and or designations as well as office held. The next thing we answer in a caption is what. Sometimes there isn't a who, but there is a what. So be concise and clear about any actions depicted in a photograph, but don't simply state the obvious. For example, if people are talking, what are they talking about? So in this illustration, it said a rescue swimmer is lowered from a Coast Guard HH-65D Dolphin helicopter as safety observer. So that would be the what. What's going on in this particular photograph? And then we answer where. Although we started out with the name of the city and probably the state, we can still answer where within the body of the caption. So be specific, so such as the cliffs near the Point Vincent Lighthouse in the illustration shown before. But you can repeat the name of the city, but it's not necessary. And then there's the when. This can be important because it documents a specific time, but it also somewhat dates the photograph. So if you did push this photograph up and it ended up on the DVIDS website, and 12 years from now, that particular photo might not be relevant. I mean, like this particular photo, it shows someone being lowered from a Dolphin helicopter. If they phase out the Dolphin helicopters, that photo may take on some age at that point because it's something that's not relative to the current time period when maybe we use a different platform. That way, when people are pulling stock photos, because that's what DVIDS is for, is basically a stock photo base. So if your images end up there, they could go stale, or they could be used for nostalgic purposes. So you want to have that date included. And then there's the why. The first sentence of an AP-style caption typically includes the first 4 W's. Additional sentences, usually one sentence, can explain the why. So you basically, like I said, it's like a shortened article. So you want to know, why are they doing this? Why is this photo relevant? What's going on there? So that's why you include the why. So again, a little background on DVIDS or DVIDS. It is actually the Defense Visual Information Distribution Service. It's a great website and source for Coast Guard specific stock photos, although they include all of the major branches of the Department of Defense. And even as an auxiliarist, some of our photos could end up on there. But if you're working, you're putting together a newsletter, you're looking for some content to post on social media, these are all available. Stock photos, specific, if you go to the Coast Guard section, they're all specifically shot by a Coast Guard or Coast Guard auxiliarist, and they can all be used. They're all copyright free. So rather than going to Comstock or iStock or any of those other agencies to get stock photos, this is one of my favorite places to go if I'm looking for something. So you use the template that I suggested. I keep a color-coded template on hand, so I have it in like a Word document, and I will literally copy and paste it under any photograph, and then I basically replace by color all of the different aspects of the caption. And when I'm done, I just turn it to black or white, depending on if it's an overlay or directly under the photo, and I have a complete caption. This has immensely reduced the time that it usually takes to do a caption. And voila, you will build a great caption in no time. For example, and additional studies, go to DVIDS and check out the images and captions there. Just go through images at random, just pull them, and you'll see that all of these captions are written exactly the same way because everybody has the same training, so that's the way they're designed. You can also include keywords in your EXIF data so that all of your images are searchable. And then when you're searching, even on your own computer, let's say you need a picture of a specific person. If that information is embedded in your EXIF, then you can literally search that name, and all those images will come up. They don't have to be, the file themselves do not have to be named that for those searches to work. So I thank you for listening. I hope you found this presentation informative, and I look forward to working with all of you who are interested in auxiliary photojournalism as your DSO and as my role on the national staff. So I look forward to seeing your work and working with you all. Thank you.
Any questions for him?
No, sir?
Do I have an audience at all?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the director was supposed to show up, but I don't see her. She's not coming, so we'll wrap up with my presentation. We'll go to lunch early. Thank you, Ramon.
Thank you.
Let's talk, you saw me do the challenge coin trick. If you go back to challenge coin history, It depended, in the early days, it was unit specific, and the challenge coin was given to a member of the organization, and primarily it was challenged at the local pub. And if you didn't carry a challenge coin in your pocket and able to produce it, you usually were asked to provide beverages for the person or the entire bar. One of the things you can do with your new members is, I know you can't see this, but this is the auxiliary challenge coin. It has a flag on the front. It's for sale in our store. And on the back, it has the words respect, honor, and devotion to duty, and the Coast Guard thing is when that person gets that BQ rating, you present them a challenge coin. Now, you can use these challenge coins for a lot of things in your meetings. If everybody's supposed to bring a challenge coin to the meeting, and if they don't, they donate to the fund to buy challenge coins. If you're out in a social event as part of your flotilla meeting, and you're down at the restaurant and you do a challenge, they can buy tea, whatever the case may be. But the challenge coin is a nice thing. Right now, I would say in the auxiliary, the challenge coin is more of a medal that you carry in your pocket. You've seen them, they pass them off. You know, you shake the hand, and one in the hand, and it goes back there, and then it immediately goes in the pocket. But you can use a challenge coin for a lot of things at a flotilla meeting, and I simply challenge you to use a challenge coin in a way to improve your socialization at your meeting. I want to talk about a couple other things real quick. It's called activity logs, and everybody is supposed to be able to put an activity log in their Oxdata account. And things have changed since we used to use paper products to create entries into the activity Ox database. One of them is the 06 categories, 06A and 06B, and the 14 series, which are used for public education. Those are for the instructors, the person who is actively instructing. The tradition used to be when we filled out a 70-30 at a classroom, we put everybody's name on it. And it went into the system, and it really didn't matter whether they were an instructor or not. They got instructor credit for instructor hours, but it didn't do them any advantage. With new Oxdata 2, we only want to have the 6 codes and the 14 codes represent those who are instructing. Now, when you get to the public education class, usually you have multiple instructors sitting around watching what goes on till it's time for them to do their chapters. So how do you report their time? Well, the school solution is you have to use multiple activity logs. The instructor gets the credit on the 14 series log, and the instructors that are sitting around the classroom get 99 DB time, which is RBS time. The other thing is your RBS time is the time that you prepped at home, the time that you used to prep your chapter, the time it took you to drive to the facility. The mileage is also recorded, and the time you sat around watching another instructor teach until you instructed. And then when you go home, you use the 99B. So all we record on the 14 series. Now, the other thing that you have to watch on the 14 series is on the details page, there's a little category that says end of session, end of presentation. And you either have to click yes or no. And if you don't click either one of those, it's not going to work. So what you want to do is the last person who teaches the last class, or you create one for your exam, and that person puts in the student count. And the student count is divided into youth and adults. You have the total number and the total number of youth graduates. So there's a little more effort in the 14 series than in the 06A, which is operations, and the 06B. the people who have made presentations here today are going to get credit for an 06B. It won't be much, but it's a little bit because it all adds up. You know, sort of like Tinker Toys. If you start stacking them up, you can get a big tall wall. We'll start the sessions after lunch at 1:30. Keith Blauser and Jeff Getty will be presenting the discipline part of the auxiliary manual. Nobody likes to think about the discipline, but they will give you a good review. Maybe somewhere we'll get the director to do a presentation. I'll have to check with that. So with that, from mile marker 0, for 3 particular rivers, if you look at the chart, the other 2 rivers are mile markers are correct. So if you patrol here in Pittsburgh, you tell sector that you're at 0000000, and the little watchstander who came from the Atlantic Ocean port says, how can they all be at the same mile marker? But you can do that in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the city of bridges. Thank you very much. See you after lunch.